So I earned my law degree at the University of Texas in '05, and then I also have a master's in economics that I got after that. And for over a decade, I've been a defense attorney in Austin, protecting constitutional rights of people accused of crimes. My core belief is that the amount of money people make, the color of someone's skin, shouldn't be determining outcomes in either the criminal justice system or people's voice in government. And I'm a candidate that walks that walk. As a community leader, I've established and continue to this day to supervise a free law clinic at UT, where we've helped hundreds of people clear wrongful arrests from their backgrounds so that people can get jobs and housing that might not have been able to do so. And I think all of that really sets me apart from the other candidates and allows me to be somebody that can really help the community, because I have experience fighting for people. And more than anything right now, we need somebody to fight for people, because rights are being trampled like never before, whether it be the pillars of our democracy, free and fair elections, equal protection of rights, even the rule of law is being attacked. So I think more than ever, people need somebody with experience representing and fighting for people. And I think with my experience doing that, that's something that I can really take to Congress and listen to the needs of people and make sure they're executed there. But also I have policy chops with my economics background, so I can make the types of tax reform we need to pay for the things we need, like whether it be free college or infrastructure projects or universal health care. So I think that when you combine those two aspects, there's not another candidate that brings that to the table. I think number one is lack of representation. So Roger Williams just doesn't hold town halls. He doesn't come here. I've gone out to pretty much everywhere in District 25, whether it be urban or rural, and most people say that they've just never been able to see Roger Williams. When they write letters to him or go to his office, they get canned responses. So bringing that type of representation, I think, is key to restore people's faith in government, because one of the biggest issues we have right now is that people are just on the sidelines of political discourse. They don't think it matters who they elect, because nobody's going to care about their needs. And I don't blame them. I mean, with the vast wealth concentration in this country, people feel like they're left behind. With Citizens United being passed, you just have these corporations and special interests having their claws into our elected officials, just acting like puppet masters, pulling their strings. So number one is government accountability. We have to find ways to have campaign finance reform so that we can trust our elected officials again, end partisan gerrymandering, having maybe even public financing for candidates, so ordinary citizens like myself can run and have matching donations from the government up to a certain point for small dollar donations. So I think that that's the key, because until we have accountability in government and restore people's faith in it, we're going to be in a yo-yo. If we have the blue wave but we don't reform the government, then there's going to be a red wave and a rollback. All of the progressive reforms that were made, we see that happening right now. So when I get up there, I want to make sure that, and that's why I'm not taking any corporate PAC money, because I don't want to be beholden to anybody but the people. And I don't have a history of working for corporate monopoly healthcare companies or working for the financial industry. I only work for the people I represent, and I want to bring that there. So I think that until we have government reform, we can't get any of the issues passed that we need, like universal health care, which would be my priority once we get to the government reform we need and restore accountability and transparency. So universal health care, and that means to me everyone covered. I'm for Medicare for all, because I think that's going to be the most cost-effective way to do it, but I'm open to other solutions that take the for-profit mechanism out of the insurance system. And the other key is breaking up the corporate monopolies that have taken over our hospitals and make it so that they just increase prices, force doctors to sell their practices, make it so that nurses' wages aren't rising, and make it so that we're all paying so much for so little. We pay more per capita for our health care than anywhere else in the world, yet we have some of the worst outcomes. There's something wrong with that. And second, education. The only way we're going to be able to bridge this income inequality that's going on is to provide the opportunity for everybody. Republicans love to talk about economic growth. Well, I'm not going to cede economic growth to them. We lose 5% of economic growth every decade because the bottom 20% of wage earners can't realize their potential because they just don't have the educational opportunities they need. So really hitting education is very important to me. And then finally, we're not going to have a planet to live on if we don't do something about our environment. And that kind of goes with a jobs issue too, with infrastructure. We've got to lay the renewable energy infrastructure, solar power, wind power, that will set us up for the future to get to 100% renewables, and it will also create millions of jobs in the process. I'm in favor of a New Deal type program like a public works administration where the government does not do something like Trump wants, which is a crony capitalistic private-public partnership that's just going to line the pockets of corporate CEOs and have some bad product. We need it overseen and have oversight and work with localities to find the infrastructure programs that are needed. Get them a $15 an hour minimum wage, have full benefits, paid and family sick leave, and then that'll uplift the entire labor market because private companies will then have to compete with these excellent government jobs. So that's a program that will pay for itself in terms of the growth that it will generate as everybody has higher wages, can pay for more goods. You have increased efficiency with businesses when you go from a D+ in the infrastructure to the A+ that it will be under that type of program. Well, I think what distinguishes me most from the other candidates is the kind of a philosophy on how we're running our campaign and what we're messaging. So the other candidates like to message kind of single issues and don't hit as the overarching concern government accountability, and that's what I'm out there talking about. I'm out there trying to talk about why are voters disengaged? Why don't they trust our government? This is not a Democrat versus Republican issue. Everybody agrees that, for example, corporate monopolies are having an outsized influence over our economy. When I go to Lampasas, if I say AT&T, everybody turns back and is upset with hate at AT&T because they refuse to dig the fiber optic lines that will give them faster internet. They can't even buy groceries at the grocery store when the internet goes out unless they have cash on hand. So, and they asked Roger Williams, what are you going to do about it? He's not going to do anything about it because he believes in the free market power of consumer choice. Well, I don't know where there's any free market or any consumer choice when you don't have any choice in your internet service provider because the government's allowed these corporate monopolies to become huge conglomerates. So when I talk about these issues, talk about accountability, that brings people together. Even Donald Trump won on draining the swamp. And now I'm not going to run a campaign like Donald Trump at all, of course, but we can message that same theme of the swamp about Roger Williams, because Roger Williams has been self-dealing. He's been using his position in government to he's doubled his net worth since being in Congress in 2013. So this is a message that transcends party lines. Government accountability and transparency. That's what I'm talking about when I'm out there, and that's what's bringing people together. And if we keep doing that, talk about hyper-local issues with people, how we're going to make their lives better, then I really think that we can win this in District 25, even if it is historically red. And now that's a lot of the rural strategy. Also, it's a lot about voter turnout. If we have a turnout similar to a presidential election, which is consistent with the numbers in New Jersey, Virginia, and Alabama, and the Republicans have a turnout more similar to a midterm type year, we can win this. So motivating voters and having the message that motivates them is key, and I believe that I'm the only candidate that has that.